Hey folks, Dirt Race Life back here with our floater rear end that we just finished installing and doing the brackets in the last episode. Now, we got our caliper still hooked up, ready to go. We got our brackets. We need to mount this up. Let's do that. Last year, I put these brake pads on brand new. I run those Hawk DTC 30s, really good pads, great for dirt racing and street stocks. But anyway, I put these on brand new last fall. And I know they're good, so I don't want to put new pads on, but the first thing we want to do is I want to show you, we need to dress these pads off and check them for square. When you, if I can get this pin out, when you do this process like I'm fixing to show you, one of the things you've got to do is you've got to make sure that your pads are either new or if they're used, that they're square. So I want to show you how to check a pad and make sure it's square. Fix it if you need to. That's the first thing we're going to do before we start this process. So let's take these two pads right here. We'll run over here to the bench and we'll dress these off right quick. Alright, since this is a used pad, check out my wear line right here. That's where my caliper was sitting just a little bit shallow of the rotor. You see that ridge right there? So I know that ridge needs to go before we do this setup. And then also, as far as the squareness of this, let me show you how I'm going to do that. Get you an inexpensive set of calipers. You really need to get you a set of calipers. Even if they're just veneer dial-out calipers, you don't have to get the digital jobs, but I mean, they're really inexpensive, y'all. Really important to do this right here because it's going to affect how that mount plate is going to line up. So like, I'm just going to check 474, 450, 480, 456. So like, for example, this pad is a little, let me get it right. Yeah, it's a little thinner on the edge and a little thicker on the bottom right there. And then this other one, so it's thinner here, thicker there. And then 467, 469, yeah, 471, 475. So this, yeah, we're good, Yep. So like one side is completely square and the other one is showing just a little bit of wear where it was kind of walking just a little bit in the pad. What I see a lot of times is what'll happen is if you don't have your bracket and everything, when we weld this on in a minute, when you don't have that straight, what happens is that your caliper is sitting just a little bit slanted. You put your new pads in, and then what'll happen is they'll heel and toe. Like they'll wear on the top or the bottom, or if it's out of alignment, you know, like front to back, if you've got it welded a little bit skewed, then they'll be like thinner on one end and fatter on the other. And if we just took these and they were like that, and we just threw them on and clamped this thing up, well then it's going to automatically make my next setup be like that right off the bat. And that's not good, because when you put new pads on, you don't get full contact on your rotor. And so when you step on your brakes, it really messes you up driving it until it wears in, because if it's just a little bit skewed, when you step on your brake pedal, what'll happen is that your pressure of your pedal will twist that mount. It'll make that caliper twist and go straight like a spring. It'll make the pedal feel spongy. And so like, and some of you, if you've ever experienced this, you'll know you don't have any air anywhere in your system. You're perfectly bled. You've got a perfect brake system, but your pedal feels spongy. That can do that. That being a little bit crooked, you put the fresh pads on and you got like heel and toe contact going on. And so until the wear gets to the point that's all the way around it, it'll literally be like a twisting effect every time you step on the pedal. Bad mojo. So make sure you get it on right. This is something you can check. If you see weird wear going on, check that. You know, because you can bend one of these. You can bend one of them. So like, and how am I going to fix that? Well, this one's good. I'm just going to dress it off. So I'm going to start here. And some guys will just take these pads from a maintenance standpoint and put them on some rough concrete and just dress them off. I use a rough file. What kind of file? Like this is what is this? This is a Nicholson. Which cut? This is a real rough cut. It's got like that cross cut. I don't know the exact name of the file tight that has that real rough cut. Somebody does. Y'all get on the comments and say. But I'm just going to take and dress it off a little bit tighter on this device right here. So I'm going to dress that little top ridge off. Go across. Hold it flat. Try not to round the edges off. Just, you know. And like I said, put it on a brick or something and do that. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do it however you want. But yeah, I'm just dressing that off right quick. So really aggressive pads, they're going to cut in just fine. Now, this one right here, this one, I know I'm thinner here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, now I got to take that ridge off right there. So we might as well start right there. So I'm going to get that ridge off. All right, so like you see how I've cut that ridge off right there? Now I'm going to take and I'm going to dress this far edge until and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my flat file. This is imprecise. It does not have to be perfect. Honestly, you know, 10 thousandths, 15 thousandths, not really a big deal, but if you're going to do it and you're setting up and welding them on, make sure you get it flat. If you were on a brick or something doing this, you could just take your, you know, your palm of your hand and hold pressure on that one side as you cut. You could achieve the same thing, y'all. Don't overthink this. This is not a big deal. But I'm just, what I'm doing is I'm just holding pressure on that side and I'm running my file. And it's just an imprecise. You could take a belt sander and do this. There's a lot of ways you could do this, you know. All right, check it out. We got her all purty all the way across. And yeah, we're within about 10 thousandths. I'm not going to sit here and keep cutting on it, trying to get it just perfect, the exact same all the way around. All I'm going to be doing is just taking brake pad off to chase that number. So, like I said, it's a little margin for error there. It's fine. All right, so our pads are ready, so let's set it all up. Put these pads in. Now, I want to show you on this setup, like, you know, it's like, well, bolting this rotor on to this hub right here. Of course, I put new rotors. And so I've got this turned. It's on the back side of this hub. Notice that this is bolted onto the inside. It's a mistake a lot of guys make. They'll already have their hub on, and they're going to set up the brakes. And so they put the rotor up to the hub. And, you know, because it's just like, seems like it makes sense, right? You just put it up to the hub here and you just start bolting it up. And you could. But what it does is it moves your rotor over, you know, like over like an inch and something. It moves it over. And then that is moving all your mounting right up against where your seal is for your actual hub and stuff. It's a disaster. You're trying to weld this up, set this stuff up. You're right out here against your wheel. You know, as far as where the caliper's out, it's not good. Matter of fact, you can get into a problem where you've got valve stems that are on the inside of the rim and your caliper is just right in there behind it. So you want to make sure, if you need to, most of these you can actually go across this hub right here with this rotor the way that these indentions are. It'll actually go over it. But if you need to pull it off, pull it off. Pull it off and bolt it up with it off there. Put it on the back side. I put it on the back side with the tabs turned this way. So I have moved the physical part of the rotor as far in as possible. You need all the room you can get on where your caliper mounts. Doesn't matter whether it's a 4-piston job like this AFCO right here, or if it's a stock GM caliper, doesn't matter. Make sure you set this rotor up where you can go as far in as you can. You need it out of the way. All right, and then I'm going to take and bolt this bad boy up. And you got to be real tight. We just want to snug it up. It's all going to have to come back apart. So, okay, there's that. I got that turned right. I think that's right. Now, I like my caliper sitting on the back of the rear end, facing up and down. Make sure that however you mount, that you've got a bleed that is up. However you do it, make sure you put the bleed up. So like, if you're using stock GM calipers and you need to put one on the front and one on the back, or however you gotta do it, make sure you've got a bleeder that's up where you can bleed your air out. All right, check this out. I got me a piece of aluminum foil here. That's enough. Throw it back and
You got masking tape up there, my
Yep. I got my piece of masking tape. I'm gonna put me a little bit of aluminum foil. I've got to protect this edge of this seal right here. You do not want to booger up your finish on your housing where your seal is running for your hub. So when we start welding right here, we have got to make sure we protect that. That is not good if I booger that up. Keep a spark or something from jumping and sticking and boogering my finish up, and then right off the bat, I'll have a leak on the seal, just instantly. Will you turn the welder on for me, Ryan?
Yes, I will.
All right, I'm gonna throw it back on there. Okay. All right, we know our pads are level. We know we're all the way down against that bottom. We're good. The level right here. All right, will you jump up in the car and hit the brake pedal for me? And then I'm gonna take and I'm setting it dead up and down. The main thing, it doesn't have to be any given place. It makes no difference on how the brakes act. But I want to be the same on both sides. I'm gonna sit right there. Holler when you're ready, Ryan. Boy, are you in that car yet?
All right.
You there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so he squeezed it, right? And we know the pads are level. So now it's made it align itself to the rotor. So we know it's aligned. So now I'm going to put me a little spot, just to hold it in place. All right, don't let off of it for a second there, Ryan.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn around now. Now it can't move. So I can just get me a little more. Get me a little bit more. Now, I'm going to try to be careful and not put a whole bunch of weld on one side, because what it'll do is it's going to pull that, and the second I take it off, it's going to, it's going to move over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to hit like the top and the bottom, and then take it apart and go back and forth and weld it up, is the way I'm going to go about this. We got her. We got her. Now I can take that wrench. I can take it all back apart. So you gotta be patient on this stuff. Don't rush it. If you rush it, you mess it up. So don't rush it. Get that bolt out. There it is. Knock this hub back off right quick. Man, I can get my wrench done. Stay on there. Come here, buddy. All right. Here we go. Sit back in there. Sit you right there. All right. Yeah, buddy. Okay. So take it. Stick it like that. Go right there. It will create so many problems for you if you booger up where that seal goes. Do not booger up where that seal goes. Okay. The way we do this, simple and straightforward. You're just stitching evenly displaced. Back and forth, side to side. Take your time, make sure your welder's set right. Make sure you got plenty of gas. You good to go? Yeah, you good to go. All right, so here we go. This side's cooled down, ready to go back together. Main thing I wanted to point out is, see this edge right here, how I kept that clean by covering it with aluminum foil? You just want to make sure you're right in that 90-degree gullet when you weld that up. Keep that weld in there tight, keep that edge protected, because like we're gonna put this thing together. You throw a little bit of oil on this because I had it wiped dry. I don't want to mess my seal up. But yeah, where that seal is at is literally gonna be just right up against that. So you gotta really kind of pay attention there, y'all. So yeah, that's all it is to it. Now, I have got a completely different video on doing this that I'm going to drop a link on here to that video where that I was setting up a set of calipers with it not in the car, with it not hooked up to the brake pads. None of that. Using air and doing it, which works fine. It's easy to do. If you got a new rear end, it's not under the car, you want to go ahead and get all this stuff welded up and done, you can do it. Not a big deal at all. For me to have done these that way, I would have had to broke my calipers loose and then re-bled them in the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, nope, system sealed, everything's good. I'm not going to do that. So I want to show you this way of doing it, which this is quicker. But yeah, so a device like this is just where you can thread into the caliper and put shop air on it. It's the same difference. It's just, you know, if you've got the whole rear end out and you got your calipers ready to go and you don't have a sealed brake system with brake fluid already in it, this is the way to do it. So the link in whichever corner it's in, check that out. You can watch this whole process done differently. I'll see y'all next time.